Hello, I'm Heather, and this is Multitrack YouTube channel. In this channel, I will guide you through the world of a YouTube network working in the music industry. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more educational music content. So, we probably hear the final polished productions of music without realizing the enormous amount of work that went into it. Sure, most people know about writing and rehearsing a song takes work for musicians, but few realize that the time and skill that goes into the engineering side of the recording process. So, to explain, consider the evolution of music recording over the 20th century. Before the 1950s, recording a song always depended on musicians and singers performing over and over again together until they got a perfect take, or at least the best. In this tedious process, if someone make a mistake, everyone has to start over again. This was the case until musicians and innovators Les Paul started experimenting with recording over himself so that he can play multiple parts in the same song. In 1954, Paul convened companies that made recorders, Ampex, to build him a three-track recorder. These were the first multi-track recorder, which allowed different tracks or channel of sound to record and play back synchronously. The vocals on one track, guitar on another, and so on. Each track can be re-recorded or deleted without affecting the other tracks. Multi-track recording soon started to revolutionize the recording industry. The four-track recorder became common by the 1960s. Innovators like the Beatles, the Beach Boy Brian Wilson, and producer Phil Spector took advantage of multiple tracks, experimenting with the new sound they could create. The Beatles John Lennon even decided to slide together two different versions of the song Strawberry Field Forever, meaning their producers, George Martins, constructed the final product from two four-track recordings. It didn't take long for eight-track recorder to become the industry standard. Ever since the 1990s, when the industry completely switched over to digital recording from analog tape recording, the multi-track process has only gotten more sophisticated. Now, the 24-track recorder is standard, but this can even be linked together to have 48 or 72 tracks if necessary. So we'll dive into the process of deeper appreciation of the engineering side of modern music recording. So, so Music Shake spoke with one of the recording engineer in our companies who write often on this subject, and he explained the basic process of multi-track recording. Of course, the actual process will depend on the kinds of machines and equipment a particular studio has, but we'll go over a typical setup. So, he said that in a recording studio, you will first decide which instrument and voice will be recorded onto which track. After placing the microphone near the corresponding instruments, you can then plug the different mic into mixing consoles. A mixing console is a sophisticated mixer, which is a machine that combines the audios and allow engineers to control the different volume level of the different audio signals. An important role of mixing console at this point is basically to amplify weak signals for the recording. But you don't have to get a level perfect at this stage. You can tweak things to get the best sound and tonal qualities during the mixed out phase later. So the mixing console is connected to a multi-track recorder, where it sends the different microphone signal to the right track to be recorded. Some machines are recording mixers, which combine the two machines into one. Another option is to use a digital audio workstation or DAW, which use computers and software to record, edit, and mix music. You can connect the instrument, microphone input, and audio's interface that connects to a computer or use a separate mixer connected to the computer. One drawback to computers is that they are more likely to crash than recorders. Of course, when the recording is done, it probably won't be perfect, as we mentioned earlier. One of the benefits of recording a different track is that one musician can make a mistake without necessarily affecting the tracks of other musicians. So, if the drummer mess up a few times during the song, the engineer can re-record the drummer track while letting other musicians take a break. So, but there's yet any solutions if the drummer only mess up one, that doesn't mean the entire drum track needs to be deleted. So now let's see the magic of multi-track recording. So if a drummer make a mistake, instead of re-recording the entire drum part, the engineer might decide to only fix the part where the drummer made a mistake. Thanks to the advancements in digital recording, it's actually relatively easy to punch in and punch out of a track, meaning re-recording just a particular section of the track. But sometimes it can get complicated. So, for example, if you record a band playing close together, the single microphone could have picked up the drummer mistake. When a mic picks up another sound, the sound is said to be bleed or leak into the mic. Um, so it is explained that this makes the recording harder to mix later and create a distant, muddy sound. One solution to this type of problem is simply to record all of the part separately, in the same way that Les Paul liked to play multiple parts himself. Recording engineer can construct a song one instrument at a time. If an engineer decides to record instruments separately, experts recommend starting with the drum for a good rhyme track. You should then move on the bass, guitar, followed by lead guitar and keyboard. Each musician after the drummer can listen to the previous recording on headphone. Recording different instruments and vocal in isolation this way makes much easier to come back later on. Another bonus is cost cutting. Um, so you so you can use one microphone instead of several, which can obviously save you money. So uh, if you record a song with an instrumental or vocal solo, um, it is recommended that recording several takes of it, each on its own track. That's why the engineer can actually pick and choose the best part of each take. The composite or that result that can therefore be the ideal take that never actually happened, and it's better than any of the take that did. And it is important for engineer to plan which track they want to use for what. If, for instance, you're working with a recorder with a limited number of tracks, you might need to plan to combine track later. This is possible through a process called bouncing. When an engineer re-record multiple used track onto an open unused track. However, bouncing track makes it more difficult to mix later on because the engineer can no longer adjust different instruments individually once they are on the same tracks. Another drawback to debouncing is that each time you do it, it degrades the quality of the sound. And this is especially true for analog recordings, but the preset degrades digital recording slightly too. Although the multi-track recording can be performed in either analog or digital format, as we've mentioned, the music industry has switched over to the digital for good reasons. In terms of multi-track recording, digital can offer you more track, perhaps only limited by the amount of company space you have. With digital, it is also easier to fake mistakes, as well as use random access to skip to a particular part of a song to edit. Sending the digital file long distance is a breeze too. Instead of mailing physical tapes reels, digital file can be sent over the internet. And because you don't have to buy expensive tape or maintain tape recorder, digital studio can be significantly less costly. And next we'll next we'll come to the section mixdown and how the multi-track recording has changed music. So during the mixdown phase, after the recording is done and the band has left the studio, an engineer can use the mixer to turn the different levels and tonal qualities of the particular tracks. For instance, equalization controls or EQ affect the bass, mid-range, and treble. Other effects such as echo can be added to the mixdown phase too. You can even change the spatial positioning of the track for stereo effects. Mixdown is the part when having multiple tracks really pays off. Before multi-track recording developed, engineer had to mix the music as it was being performed, which is extremely difficult. Is it said that the great old recording that sound good despite the challenges are testament to the skill and quick decisions of the recording engineer of that era. Because engineers don't have much time to work with mixings and effects after the music is recorded, the effects have become increasingly important part of the music itself. Because of that, the line between artist and engineer has blurred, and it is notable that several decades after its inception, multi-track recording remains an invaluable way to explore musical innovations and creativity. Indeed, it's no surprise that recorded music has been edited is now sounding so good that live performances seem to pale in comparisons. However, it is put so much pressures on artists that some opt to lip sync their stage performance to a previously recorded version in order to live up to the recording the fans are used to. Despite the ultra polished sound of popular recorded music, some still value the feel of a live performance with all of its imperfections. Whether one prefers live music or the edited versions on studio is a personal preference. However, it is easy, at least, to appreciate the lush, layered sound and musical alchemy that only multi-track recording can accomplish. And that's it for the video today. Thanks for staying until the end with me and see you in the next video. And let me know in the comment section what topic you want Music Shake to cover in the upcoming videos. Bye!